Hey, thank y'all for coming tonight. Last minute. I know it was one of those last minute things. Sorry about that. But thank y'all for coming on to celebrate Jackson State advancing in the SWAC Baseball Tournament, as well as a whole bunch of other things that we're going to talk about. Jackson State done had a great month of May. It's a great month to be a Tiger, right? This is your first time tuning in, or if you're, maybe you tune in every once in a blue moon, but you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button. I promise you, nobody will know, okay? No one will know. Hit the like button. Hey, Jerome.
Hey.
Your name's not Jerome. Anyway, I got my pom-pom out, okay? Because Jackson State is waking it up in that baseball tournament. You know we was like that, huh? You know, we was like that. Yeah, like that. Hell Wildcats. Y'all think we should play the Bethune Cookman fight song?
Yeah.
And we could talk about recruiting as well. I ain't even gonna stunt or lie to y'all. I don't have any slides. I don't have no slides. I don't have no slides tonight. But luckily, you know, some of these things we don't necessarily need a slide for. I can just pull it on up. I think we should play Hell Wildcats. Oh Lord. I was hoping that Grambling could have done something, you know. Oh, now why are you putting me out there like that on blast? Braxton's last day of school is tomorrow. And you know, I just been in mommy mode. And so I haven't been doing slides and stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. You know, it's going to be summertime. Making sure Brax finishes on a strong note. I finish on a strong note. Let me see what's happening to Grambling. What, dear Grambling? We love you, dear.
Dear Grandma.
We're loyal to thee. Let's look at this bracket, right? Because to my understanding, it's double elimination. So if you lose twice, you get eliminated. And once again, Jackson State is we are really blessed in this tournament. So we're going to look at that tournament bracket. I'm going to pull it up for y'all. So we can just take a look at it. Let's look at this bracket. Blessed. You know, we waking it up, which let's just keep it a buck. When it came to like outside conference play and stuff like that, we've, you know, been doing well against stronger competition. We did struggle a little bit in the SWAC, but we had some injuries, and you know, those injuries are no longer a factor in the SWAC tournament. So what you're seeing right now is Jackson State at full strength. And I'm gonna pull this up because they have a weird bracket. They don't have the actual names in here. Got bracket A and bracket B. Okay, so basically East versus West. How many of y'all are going to Atlanta? Yes, explain, because I don't know why it's not like the softball bracket. So let's pull that up. So, and then right now, what I'm pulling up is basically for this baseball bracket, it actually doesn't have the names of the teams. So while I'm sharing that, I'm going to also look for the one with the actual names of the teams. Okay. So Wednesday, which was, of course, yesterday, game 1 opening round. It was number 2 seed East versus number 3 West. Number 1 West versus number 4 East. So are they saying Texas Southern was seeded number 1? Didn't we beat Texas Southern yesterday? Y'all, don't get me started. Let me just read out. I'm going to just read out the bracket A schedule. Then I'm going to pull up the actual teams, because I know for a fact that Jackson State was seeded number 4. I know that for a fact. So there's no disputing that. So basically it's 4 teams, the top 4 teams out of SWAC East and the top 4 teams out of the SWAC West are competing. So Wednesday, which was yesterday, opening round was number 2 East versus number 3 West, number 1 West versus number 4 East. Today, the loser of game 1 versus the loser game 3, the winner of game 1 versus the winner of game 3. Tomorrow, winner of game 5 versus the loser of game 7. Semifinals is the winner of game 7 versus winner of game 9. And the championship is winner of game 11 versus winner of game 12. So I'm not trying to toot any horns, but right now, Jackson State has not lost a game. So similar to the women's softball game, if you win one more game, then you get like you get to go to the championships, right? And right now, they said FAMU is beating the snot out of Grambling. So it's looking like if they beat them, Lord have mercy. Let me see. That was bracket A. This is bracket B right here. So East versus number 4 West. So that was, of course, FAMU. So if they beat them, then they still got to play a couple more people before they get to us. So basically, we need to win our bracket. So FAMU's not in our bracket right now. The only way we're going to meet up with FAMU is if we're in the championships. Jackson barely made that 4th seed in their division, but their bats woke up. They barely made. So let's talk about that, because let's talk about Jackson State and their baseball. You know, they were playing really, really well. They had some really good wins. And then all of a sudden, when it came to SWAC play, I don't know, we took some tough losses in SWAC plays. It just seemed like we couldn't buy a win, right? And so we ended up being 16-12 in conference, but we are on a 5-win streak, 19-8 at home, 11-8 away, and 5-2 in neutral sites, 35-18 overall. Let's scroll on by. We won against Memphis. I don't know if people remember that. But once it got to SWAC play, it was a little bit different. We was losing to Bethune. So that's why Bethune was such a great win today, because we lost to Bethune during the season. We beat New Orleans. We couldn't get past Florida A&M. In our series, we won only one, and then FAMU beat us in April, and that was in Jackson, Mississippi. We wasn't winning against Bethune either. We won against Alabama A&M, but 17-4 versus Texas Southern. Texas Southern was the number 1 seed. JSU had injuries. Okay. We play FAMU. See, I'm going to have to actually pull up the bracket then, because from what I'm looking at, it has bracket A and bracket B. Texas Southern lost big in their first game, but I think they beat Prairie View in the loser bracket. So Texas Southern is still alive. We play the winner of Bethune and Texas Southern. See, people keep on saying, look, when I looked at it, it looked like there's bracket 1 and bracket 2. So this right here says on Friday, we're either going to play Bethune Cookman or Texas Southern, which that would basically, we already beat them really, really bad. And that's what I was trying to show you guys on this bracket. It looks like there's 2 brackets, and the winner of game 12, we're not going to be in FAMU's bracket unless FAMU wins theirs outright. We're not going to meet them. So this is bracket A and bracket B. And I'm not seeing us in the same bracket. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's just how I'm looking at it. I'm looking, and I don't even think you guys can see it real good. Let me see if I can make this bigger so y'all can see it. It don't look like y'all can see it. Can y'all see that? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. It looks weird, but yeah, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it better. All right. So there's two brackets. There's bracket B, which FAMU is in that bracket. FAMU is in bracket B. So number 1 East and number 4 West, and then number 3 East and number 2 West. So basically, the number 1 and number 3 seed in the East are in the same bracket. And then the number 2 and number 4 of East are in the other bracket. So that's why, if I'm reading this correctly, if we wouldn't even see FAMU unless they make it to the championship, vice versa. Bethune Cookman, we knocking their heads off. Going into this next, they can meet in the championship if they each went out. Right. It's weird. I don't like that. Ikenberry is from Lithonia, so he's right at home in Atlanta, and he's playing like it. They can meet in the championship if they each went out. That's what I thought. So going by that method, I don't know. Me personally, I kind of feel like you don't get to necessarily play like I don't like it in the sense that we've already beat both Bethune and Texas Southern, so why would we play them again? You know what I'm saying? Why are we playing the same teams that we've already beaten? If we go into the tournament with going into like the semifinals and with no losses, that'll be good, because then that means that you're actually going to have to play twice for double elimination, especially if they both FAMU and Jackson State go into without a loss. And y'all said that Grambling State is getting their asses beat. Well, that's not good. You could hope and wish that somebody would give FAMU at least one loss, because then you don't have to play them twice. Both of us have to you have to lose twice in order to actually lose. That's why on the women's side, we had to play FAMU twice. Let me see what the score is. Does anybody have the score? SWAC scores. But you know what? Jackson State, that's not all. I have my pom-pom out because Jackson State, we've been getting some good news this week. Some real good news. We just got 23 million. I'm going to pull that up real soon. Jackson State is doing it. We got some recruits from the women's basketball team. I'm going to have to probably go to Twitter because they don't necessarily update it, which I can understand, but still, dang. I feel like not true for men. Wait, what injuries were you referring to on the broadcast? I know one thing. As soon as you turn your head, the game changes. They can meet in the championship for each one out. Not true. What do you mean it's not true for men? They don't have double elimination? How do they have? Why are men different than women? I think it is true for men as well, because it says it on here it says game 11B is on Saturday if necessary. So the reason why they have game 11B is because if, let's say, for instance, if Jackson State were to lose tomorrow, not in the championship. Oh, okay. Southern Miss needs to refund their allocation for stealing all that money. I was getting ready to say, I thought it was double elimination. I knew I wasn't tripping. Oh, it's not a double elimination in the championship. So I think that's the only difference from the women's, because the women's, we had to beat FAMU twice. And they're saying not a double elimination. So depending on how this goes, this could be a good thing, or you could just be like, that's not fair, right? Because if it just depends on which team you are on. If you're on the receiving end of not losing any games until the championship, and you look at the women's and you see, well, hey, they get to play again, you're going to say it's not fair. If you win, you're going to be like, well, that's how it is for men's baseball. So but scoring 17, that's insane, right? That is a baseball game that I would like to attend, right? If anybody wants to attend a baseball game, that's one of those games you want to attend, right? There's a lot of batting, a lot of hitting, a lot of runs, a lot of stolen bases. And to see them play really well against Texas Southern, and then to come and play really, really well against Bethune Cookman. This is a game that you would like to watch because there's a lot of action going on. Even though I will say, when I watched the Cactus Jack, I enjoyed watching that game as well. I enjoyed the defense as well. The defense was insane as well. And that's the thing with, I think that a lot of these channels that don't utilize the comments don't know that you can really bolster your engagement by allowing folks to talk, to jump in there and talk noise. I can play my Wildcat song. I was going to be hot if I had to play it and we lost. But I don't know if Theron is in here, but I'm definitely going to play his song, because when they beat us earlier in the season, I had to play it. So I'm definitely going to play the Wildcat song. Hail Wildcats. Okay. Who do y'all want to play tomorrow? Texas Southern or Bethune Cookman? Me personally, I think I want for I'm not trying to be funny, but I think I want Bethune Cookman to lose against Texas Southern. Wildcats, they've been playing pretty good this season. Why they don't have okay. I think my son is redoing that. What do you guys think about Bethune Cookman's alternate jersey? The blue. The turquoise blue. It's nice. Dang, why can't I find the good stuff? I found a Hail Wildcat song, but it's not that long. Braxton, what are you singing? How do you guys feel about the SWAC baseball tournament being in Atlanta? Do you think that's a great spot? Should they move it? Should they keep it where it's at? What do y'all think about that? Interesting that this year's SWAC tournament ran into Memorial Day weekend. I'm wondering if that is going to affect attendance. I don't think versus having it on a non-Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend last year. I don't think it was. I got it, y'all. I knew I had it in here in my repertoire of memes that I have on standby. Wait, y'all can't hear that? Y'all can't hear that? No sound. You mean to tell me y'all didn't hear that Wildcats thing? We see you here. We can't hear. No. What? Are you guys serious? Why? Why can you not hear that? It's loud and proud over here. I'm over here. You gotta be kidding me. Is this true? This is preposterous. See, that's why I don't like this computer. What? And another reason why I do not be on here. Because what is that? Ghetto. That's what it is. Ghetto. All right, let me try something else. Y'all heard that one. Come on. I'm not even gonna lie. That I'm rooting for Texas Southern. I'm rooting for Texas Southern, y'all. I'm sorry. How you gonna fix it? Can y'all hear me? How you gonna fix it? Oh, okay. Y'all, I don't that hurts my heart. See, I can't even joke like I want to. I wanted to okay, so I wanted to celebrate, of course, the $23 million that Jackson State received, but I was definitely going to be joking about some stuff. Cause I'm petty, that's why. But you know what? Hey, if we can get $23 million from the state of Mississippi, we don't necessarily have to wear red. Here, let's take a poll and see how many folks think we maybe we don't need to wear red. Let's see. Let me ask. How are y'all feeling about it now? After we done got that 25 million. I think it's okay not to wear prominent red. Sure, you can get 23. See, this is what I was talking about, right? I was saying our president is more than likely, he's a Republican, maybe, possibly. I don't know what his political affiliation is, but I do know that he's been in IHL for quite a long time. Can he utilize his relationships to Jackson State's benefit? And lo and behold, Pastor Prince. So does that mean that I can't play Pastor singing the song because y'all won't be able to hear it? I'm so hurt right now. Pastor Prez was singing that we won't complain. After he got them to give at least 23 mil, I won't complain. Dang, y'all can't hear none of my stuff.
I can't hear it either.
Braxton, how do you know? They said that he didn't even give a damn about the red and that was someone else was pressing the issue. Well, I hope they got fired. Fire their ass. Y'all, I'm going to be hurt if I can't play none of my memes during the show because you guys can't hear them. Like, that's going to hurt my heart. I'm going to be upset about that. I'm going to be very upset that you guys cannot hear these. I lift my hands in total praise to you. All right, let's see. Can y'all hear that?
I can only hear a little bit.
Can y'all hear that? Oh, okay, it worked out. Maybe they just didn't like it. Yes. That's me screaming. Yes, we got that 23 million. The money is in the bank.
I lift my hands into the only voice I want heard is his. So praise.
Where's Mr. Ford? Mr. Ford, if you're on here, tell me to drop the link.
I lift
My hands.
Mommy, I have to go to school tomorrow.
Yes, you do. Stop. Till 11 o'clock. Yes, you do. We can't hear the pastor. Damon, they say that they can't hear. Somebody lying.
Hey. Stop her.
Can y'all hear the pastor? mean? It was like a whisper. I know I can't sing, but anyway, let me pull up that article that talks about this $23 million that we, as in the, got in the bank. Come over here and say that again, Brax. Come over here. Come over here. What you say, babe? Say it to the camera.
The money is in the bank.
What you say, baby?
The money is in the bank.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. The money is where, baby?
The money's in the bank.
Yeah, let's pull that up so we can read it.
Thank you.
Let's read
I
it.
am right.
You are right. I don't know if the clear lie ledger, I know it hurt them to have to talk about that. You know what? It wasn't even the normal person that talks about Jackson State. It wasn't even him that did the article. That figures, right? So usually JT Keith does all things like that happen at Jackson State, right? And usually it's a negative twist to it, or he didn't even write the article for the Clarion Ledger. And that's something really positive about Jackson State, and he did not do that article. Let's see if they let me even read it, because something popped up on here. Man, let me read this article real quick. Jackson State receives over $23 million in state funds for the campus. What is on tap? Okay, let's read about what's on tap for Jackson State. More than 500 undergraduates received degrees during JSU's graduation Saturday. With the graduation commencement ceremony at Jackson State. Jackson State is set to receive millions from the state after a bill was signed into law. Let me go ahead and copy and paste so y'all can read along. Or if you want to check it out later because you have questions. Let me copy and paste that for y'all.
What's that?
I don't know where he gets that from. He definitely didn't inherit that from me. I don't know where he gets that pettiness from. So it says a bill was signed into law. Now, mind you, it's been a lot of times that Tate Reeves, something will pass in the Senate and House, and then for some reason Tate Reeves would veto, or he'd do a line item veto, or we wouldn't get what we need from Mississippi because one way or another it never gets pushed all the way through. So the fact that Jackson State was going to be able to receive this money, I definitely want to probably attribute some of it to who we have as our current president, right? I'm just saying. He did, actively say that he was working. He was at the Capitol talking, using his resources. I don't know why Deputy Mario keeps saying that we hated the new president. I, for one, have never in my life said that I hated the president. What I did say was that I expect for the president to utilize his relationships that he gained at being at IHL for all those years, that when he first came in, I was expecting him to utilize those relationships. Also, I was giving him the side eye because he was basically in IHL for so many years, and Jackson State unsuccessfully has been able to acquire some things. The same way I was side eyeing our acting president, Elaine, Dr. Elaine. I was side eyeing her when she was at Tate Reeves' basically celebration party. There's actually still nothing wrong with anybody giving somebody a side eye that's been chosen by IHL due to the past history and just due to how IHL works. There's nothing wrong with that. Deputy Mario, you have never actually seen anybody from JSU say they hate the current president. Now, cracking jokes on him when he it's not really necessarily cracking jokes, but utilizing him to tell a joke, I'll do that all day. Him singing or giving out words of wisdom, absolutely going to use those as memes on Twitter. But if you've actually watched my lives, I've never disrespected the president and said that I hated him.
Why?
And you can like Dr. Elaine all you want to, but the fact remains that it was Marcus Thompson who got that 23 million pushed through. We never said we didn't like pasta.
I like pasta.
I don't even know who pasta is.
I like pasta.
Oh, you like pasta. Mm-hmm. Okay. It says the Senate Bill 2468 includes more than 820 million in state expenditures. Now, mind you, 820 million in state expenditures, Jackson State getting 23 million is not even 5% of all state expenditures, right? That sum includes funds to cities such as Jackson, which received 9.4 million for various projects. The total budget is 820 million, and Jackson, which is probably one of the biggest populations in comparison to probably other different areas in Mississippi, it's really getting a small piece of the pie, like very small. So while we are cheering for the 23 million, let's just keep it a buck. It's still well under what we should receive. So let's just keep that in mind. A total of 110 million is headed to 7 universities within Mississippi institutions of higher learning, as well as the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Jackson State University and Mississippi State University received the majority of the funds. Both universities received just over 23 million. JSU received just over 8 million from the IHL in 2023 for construction and furnishing of a residence hall. So it looks like this 23 million is actually, the way this reads, now I'll have to go do some fact checking on that. But the way this article reads, it reads that we received 8 million from IHL in 2023, and we received 23 million, which would actually put us over to 31 million. From 2023 to 2024, that's $31 million. But let's just keep it a buck. A lot of this stuff is well overdue.
Can I put this in my mouth?
No.
Why?
Because you don't need that.
What is it for?
It's teeth whitener. For JSU, exactly 7 million will go to repair, renovate, and purchase a new residence hall. So me and Dre was clowning on Twitter trying to figure out how are you going to get a brand new residence hall for 7 million? And what is he talking about? Politics got JSU that money. Mr. Haynes, this is not an election year for what's his name? He just got elected. This is not election year for him. For Governor Reed's tater tot. It's not an election year. He's already been reelected. He didn't have to give us a dime if he didn't want to. Now, politics definitely played a part in it, because guess what? Our president has been in IHL for 15, 20 years. 15, 20 years. So absolutely, it was definitely politics related. So there's that. But the $7 million will actually go towards the Marriott downtown, which The students are already living there. So now they're getting ready to make it into a residence hall. A lot of the students complained because it wasn't on campus, but I like this idea. I really do. If you look at some of the PWIs that I'll take, for instance, UNCG, UNC Charlotte, or just, I would even take High Point University. What they do is they're buying up a lot of the property surrounding the university, and then they're turning them into resident halls, apartments, or whatever, and they're renting them out to students. It gets kind of tricky though with the purchasing of different residence halls and stuff like that. And the reason why I say that is because the state doesn't necessarily fund like they're supposed to. And so because they don't fund like they're supposed to, you're not able to get the infrastructure repairs that you need. All right, let's see what else we got. So that, but they're already staying there. So at this point, they're just going to repair, renovate, and that whole, I wonder, let me see if I can figure out how many rooms is in there. Downtown Marriott Jackson. Let's see how many rooms they have. I mean, if you think about it, an old hotel room is a great place if you're not wanting to build from the ground up. An old hotel definitely already has some systems in place that would make it easier to transform it. For one, the doors, like they're all on like a certain system, so it wouldn't take as much money to transform it into a dorm, right? They already have those really heavy doors with the security on them. So it says that the 303 room hotel opened in 1975 as a Holiday Inn. The Jackson Marriott downtown. Okay, nice, right? I want to look at pictures. Let me know in the chat if y'all want to look at pictures of the Jackson Marriott. Exactly. This is a great idea. Let me see. I could pull up pictures of the downtown Marriott.
Wait. What?
What are you writing? So that is a blessing that Jackson State is able to acquire this, because Jackson State, subscribe, SUB SCRIVE. Okay, I didn't know this. That the hotel temporarily closed due to COVID-19. Get the a pandemic discount on it, right? Because basically it says that they closed down because of the pandemic. What does that say? Have all up. Read it for me, baby.
Hey, all of y'all, make sure like and subscribe.
Oh, okay. Braxton has a message for y'all. He said like and subscribe. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Each has a bathroom, as long as there's no bed bugs. Cool. Whoa. That hotel hasn't been really utilized, so yeah, as long as there's none of that. But it says that it opened in 1975 as a Holiday Inn. It's been sold and rebranded as Harvey Hotel in 95, Crown Plaza in 1997, and Marriott in 2004. In 2020, it was announced that the hotel would be renovated and rebranded to Delta by Marriott. During the renovations, it would operate under the name Jackson Downtown Convention Center Hotel. Later, that hotel temporarily closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. So, it looks like we actually we'll probably be able to negotiate a really good deal, right? Because I know that we were paying just for those students that had to be relocated. Just the students that had to be relocated due to a fire. And then there's some students that need to be relocated due to mold concerns in the old Palisades. Some of them were relocated to that hotel. So it's not like there's not students already there. So that's good. Now you can kind of get the students to not necessarily complain, because it's literally going to be a dorm there. Oh, it says that's a different hotel. Oh no, she's talking about that. They would have to go in and do some renovations anyway, so just spray it real good, dude. That time. So it looks like they started doing renovations and then COVID hit, and then they decided not to move forward with any of the renovations. So hopefully the hotel gets sold for a deep discount, right? Because you guys aren't doing anything with the hotel. Go ahead and sell it to us for $1 so that we can really invest in those renovations. Like, yeah, make those some luxury rooms. And so that's good. Okay, let's go back to the article. Let me see if it's still gonna let me read it. You know, Clarion Ledger's a little iffy. It says another portion of these funds, just over $16 million, will be used to repair to campus facilities, specifically McAllister Whiteside Hall. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now. The dorm that I stayed in, it says the distance not even bad. Felix used to walk to him from Freelance, just catch a shuttle. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not bad. I used to say, hang on just a second. Get in here. I know tomorrow's your last day, but you're doing too much. Okay. You're supposed to be my production assistant. Can I get something to drink, please? Thank you. Okay. What I was trying to say is, it's literally only a mile away. Okay. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then there's just a lot of folks that are literally just complaining to complain. But you know what, students, you know what it is? Students be wanting to go out on the plaza. I get it. You hear the band practicing, the band going through the plaza. You know, they have those little after hour hot spots. I stayed in McAllister in 94, 95. Yeah. And that was in 2005 that I stayed in McAllister. And I don't know if folks just be saying this, especially like kids that go to PWIs. But I also stayed at Mizzou during the summer of 2005 because I was in one of those DEI programs. And I had a full ride to go to school at Mizzou. And I didn't want to stay at home. So I decided to go to Jackson State. But I'll say this, like when I moved from that dorm that I was at Mizzou to the dorm at McAllister Whiteside, it was comparable. I don't know why folks be acting like some of these PWIs, like everywhere you go, it's just going to be luxurious. It in fact was not. It was comparable. So I don't know. I feel like that's definitely a dope start. And they also have it in Atlanta, which I don't know if they have it anymore, but in Atlanta, they have student housing as well. And one of the things that they do is, and that's like the student housing places, they have shuttles that will take you either to MARTA or you have a shuttle that'll drop you off at the school. And that was called Metro Point. I stayed in that particular Metro Point apartment. I want to say summer of 2007 when I had an internship. I stayed at Metro Point Apartments. Exactly. They have shuttles everywhere. So that's just how it is. Good evening, Mr. Walker. All right. So let me finish this article just in case it has any more tidbits. But that's a much needed improvement for McAllister. I'm excited to see the transformation of McAllister Whiteside. I really am. I'm just excited to see it. Okay, so it says the funds will also be used for the development of alternative water sources. Now, for this, I was just kind of like, the development of an alternative water source. And I don't know if this is something that the president would be able to do, right? And so that is lobbying for the governor, the legislature to change the rules so that we can participate in HBCU finance. Okay. Yeah, that's the only way they could have been that, because if you talk about getting their own water system, allegedly it's like $30 million. So getting our own water system, which I don't know. I feel like the current president that we have, I feel like he can possibly persuade and lobby for that change to be made in the Mississippi state law to allow us to participate in the HBCU capital finance program. I feel like he can do it. Because then if you're able to do the HBCU capital finance program, I mean, it just depends. So Mississippi would be off the hook for giving us bonds. Freshman year, that's a vibe. Like, I don't even think I moved to the Palisades like my senior year. And so for us, I think that the two things that's holding Jackson State back is, of course, housing and the water system. And of course, infrastructure and security. And $23 million is probably a third of what we need. So yes, it was a large amount, but in reality, we probably need like 75 million, right? So that other 50 million that we really need, if we could get past the press to go in there and maybe pitch it in a different way, like, hey, we're trying to alleviate it. We're trying to alleviate the responsibility of the state of Mississippi, and maybe put it in there that they won't take any type of loan out that would have more than a 15-year loan or something like that. And the reason why you want to do the HBCU finance, capital finance, is because a lot of times they actually do loan forgiveness. So they sell it to you, or not necessarily sell it, but I think the purpose of that was the government is making it like, okay, we're not necessarily giving HBCUs money, but what they end up doing a lot of times is doing loan forgiveness. And it's something that North Carolina HBCUs have not been able to participate in. And it's also something that Mississippi hasn't been able to participate in. Florida A&M, their legislature in Florida actually had to change that rule for them to be able to participate in it. They'll be on campus, Mr. Haynes. They'll still be on campus. The residence hall then becomes on campus property. It's definitely on campus. And yeah. Hey, Quay. All right, so that's great. Now we did have some tough stuff happen today, and that is gerrymandering case for Supreme Court. Let me go to women's basketball real quick. I don't want to forget this. Let me go ahead and read, which I'm pretty sure other podcasts have already done this, but I haven't been on here for a while. Let's go see what Coach Richards is up to. She's making moves, y'all. She is making moves. SWAC recruitment. We have a lot of movement. I think one of the reasons why I was so apprehensive about doing like breakdowns of our team, especially in football, is because there's so much movement. We had a punter that was committed to Jackson State, and now they're no longer committed to Jackson State. It's just a lot of movement going on. So summer camp is starting, I think. Do they have summer camp, or are these students just coming on campus early? I think they're just coming on campus early. But one of our special teams, and we already have a punter, by the way. Well, we did have one, Matt Knoll. So, but he's a graduate. So I think we were trying to bring in a new punter, a younger punter, one that can, and unfortunately, the punter that we tried to bring in they made an announcement today. Yeah, it's almost at this point, you got to really wait until fall camp, right? To really say, okay, this person is definitely going to be here. And then even that might be iffy, right? A lot of movement going on. So I'm sure we're going to get another punter. I just saw that we re-offered basketball stuff. Coach Richards. You know what? I haven't even done a breakdown of Coach Richards and her staff. I really need to do that. All right. So Coach Richards announced her coaching staff, and we've also received some recruits. Nice. So they ain't been updating this stuff. I might have to actually go to Coach Richards' page, because it looks like they haven't updated since May 7th. Or I'll just go to Coach Price, who is actually a Jackson native. He's been retweeting everything. So let me go to Coach Price's page. What y'all thinking about basketball so far? It says a rugby player from Australia. Need a backup punter bad. That Bethune game almost made me smoke a black and mild. Oh, Lord, not a black and mild. A well for water wouldn't be a possibility. Oh, well. Man, if Mississippi don't stop playing in our face, well water almost made me roll a blunt. I think my language on that live was terrible. I'm pretty sure it was terrible. I mean, the special teams had some injuries that day. All right, let's see. Okay, so we got Tierney Kelsey, who committed yesterday. She's class of 2024, 5'8", point guard. She's from Whitehaven High School. We've done got a couple of student athletes from Whitehaven, including Aubrey Miller, and Aubrey Miller's younger brother is from Whitehaven High School. Oh, I can put this out here too. Congratulations to Siobhan Gray in triple jump, Milani Galbraith in long jump, and Damian Roll in triple jump. They are qualified for the East preliminary round for the NCAA track and field. So they're going to Kentucky. Here it is right here. The coaching staff. As you know, Coach Reed took all of her coaching staff with her to Charlotte. And so Coach Richards hired a brand new coaching staff, and she announced her picks for this year. Jackson State head women's basketball coach Margaret Richards officially announced her staff for the upcoming season Monday. So this happened on May 20th. So even though I have a live today, I'm not too far off. This isn't too far off. This happened this Monday. So we're still in the same week, y'all. I might be a little bit late. Delayed, but not denied. Mr. Jones, we do not want to have to use a windmill pump at Jackson State University. Okay? The days of toting water are gone. Not the way they trying to treat us. They trying to treat us like we're gonna have to use a manual pump or something. You know what they better use? They better use they better learn how to use the solar energy, solar power. Okay. The staff includes a pair of former head coaches, including a Jackson native, a former all-SWAC performer on the court, a national champion, and several conference championships. The staff also includes coaches who have developed all conference and all-American selections for both men and women's programs around the country. Dylan Howard, he joins the staff after a one-year stint at Oakwood, following a one-year stint as an associate head coach for the Southern men's basketball team. He's no stranger to Southwestern Athletic Conference after serving as an assistant coach at Mississippi Valley State and Alabama A&M, before serving 3 years as the men's head coach for the Bulldogs. During this time at Southern, he held the Jaguars' finish at the top scoring team in the league and one of the top defensive teams in the nation, finishing 7th in turnovers forced per game. While at Alabama A&M, he helped the Bulldogs to the conference semifinals, and his team was ranked number 1 in the RPI rankings. Howard has helped develop several all-conference performers during his career, as well as All-Americans in his 28-year coaching career. Daniel Price also joins the staff under Richards after a stint at Sunbelt Conference member Marshall, where he helped lead the women's basketball team to the conference championship and a berth in the 2024 NCAA tournament. The Jackson native is no stranger to winning, having helped lead Georgetown College to the 2013 NAIA National Championship. Prior to his stint at Marshall, he served as the head coach of Simmons Kentucky College, where he led the women to the first ever NCCAA National Tournament Final Four, and the team was ranked in the top 10 nationally in several categories. He also helped lead the University of the Cumberlands to a national tournament appearance and a Mid-South Conference tournament title during his time on the sideline. Richard brings back a familiar face to the SWAC women's basketball in former All-SWAC performer Alexis Holt, who was previously on staff at Copiah Lincoln. During her time on the sideline, she was part of a staff that led to the development of Tandria Minor, who was named second team All-MACCC, and Zakaria Anderson, a first team All-MAC, All-Region 23 selection, and World Exposure Report, honorable mention All-American. As a player at Grambling, she played in 30 games and averaged 17 points per game, while also averaging 5.3 rebounds per game, on her way to being named a Box Toro All-American. Pat Richardson rounds out the staff name on Monday after a stint at Quincy University. He served in the assistant role for the program and also the interim coach for games, leading the team to a 3-1 record. No stranger in the SWAC, Richardson spent several years at Alabama A&M, including as a special assistant to head coach Dylan Howard. During his time in Huntsville, he helped the Bulldogs to the most regular season wins since the 2015-16 season, with home wins over Troy, Jacksonville State. During his time coaching, Richardson has been instrumental in coaching 4 all-conference players. So she brings 4 coaches to her staff. So just 4 coaches. What do y'all think about that? Cooling water from Grandma's well. Okay, I know that song. It felt like cooling water. Cooling water. I know that song. I'm old school too.
I'm old school too.
You are not old school, Braxton.
How do you
Anyway,
how do you know?
that's Coach Richards, okay?
How do you know I'm not old school?
Because you're not. So, congratulations to Coach Richard and her staff. And they've been recruiting. So, congratulations to her. They got some more recruits to commit, but I'm sure that they'll make those announcements soon. You don't want to make the announcements of your commit too soon because you don't want them to get pulled out from under you. You want to make it close enough to where you got to enroll in school. Keep them on our toes. Keep them on the toes. All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about real quick, switching gears, which this doesn't necessarily have to do with Jackson State, but it does have to do with Black folks. And that is the gerrymandering case that was decided in South Carolina and how it can affect for the coming centuries, how that's going to affect everything. And y'all, it's not looking good. And one of these days, I'm going to have to actually break down the Voting Rights Act and what happened with the Voting Rights Act, because even though the Voting Rights Act was passed, there was a ruling.
Look, I made a cinnamon roll.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. there was a Supreme Court ruling that basically invalidated a section of the Voting Rights Act. And so we'll just have to go over that one day. Court rules for South Carolina Republicans in dispute over congressional map. This is not good, you guys. It's not. I'm surprised they were able to do this. But then again, it is the type of... I mean, basically, this is my only issue. These Supreme Court justices, they're supposed to, some of them are claiming that they're originalists. So originalists basically are justices that they try to interpret the Constitution in that timing that it was created. And so they try to base all of their opinions as if it was happening during that time, to try to take on what the founders meant when they made this particular constitutional amendment, or what did they mean when they said this. That's how they're supposed to interpret it. But some of these folks who said that they were originalists are not following by their own rules. They're literally going around their political views. Okay, so this happened today. So this is breaking for today. The Supreme Court on Thursday threw out a ruling by a federal district court holding that a congressional district on the South Carolina coast was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. That is, it sorted votes based primarily on their race. So you are not allowed to create district lines based on race. So you can form district lines based on political affiliation. So let's say you want to protect a Democratic seat, or you want to protect a Republican seat. You can do that. What you cannot do is say, all of these Black folks over here, we know that they are going to vote Democratic, so we're going to purposely remove this section of Black voters out so that their vote is diluted. You can't do that. That's unconstitutional. But it's really based off of a previous decision that was made. An opinion by Justice Samuel Alito, the justices cleared the way for the state to use the map going forward. The 6-3 decision, with the justices divided on ideological lines, means that the disputed district will remain a safe seat for Republicans, who hold a 6-1 advantage in the state's congressional delegation. More broadly, Thursday's decision creates a high bar for plaintiffs in future racial gerrymandering cases to meet. The issue at the center of the case was how courts should distinguish between the roles played in redistricting by race and party affiliation. Because Black voters, like, I know you might see on Twitter, they say, Black voters don't all vote Democrat. And that's true that not 100% of Black voters do, but the majority of Black voters vote overwhelmingly Democratic. And so basically by removing these Black voters, you're removing Democratic votes. So the issue at the center of the case was how courts should distinguish between the roles played in redistricting by race and party affiliation, when there are often close correlations between the two. In South Carolina, for example, exit polls in the 2020 election indicated that at least 90% of Black voters supported Democrat Joe Biden. A lower court in March ordered the map to be used for the 2024 elections after the Supreme Court failed to rule on the case by a proposed January 1st deadline. In his opinion for the majority, Alito rejected the lower court's conclusion that the state's Republican-controlled legislature had improperly relied too heavily on race. So basically they're saying, you guys didn't rely on race. You utilize political affiliation. So basically, they removed, I want to say it's like 60,000 black voters and placed them in a different district. But they're saying these black voters weren't removed because they were black. They were removed because they were Democrats. Joined by Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson, Justice Elena Kagan dissented from the court's decision, writing that it told legislators who wanted to rely on race either as a proxy to achieve partisan ends or to straight up suppress the electoral influence of minority voters to go right ahead. Legislators and map makers, she complained, can evade scrutiny by explaining that they relied on factors other than race.
I got some grains for you.
Okay, thank you. So, and in the Supreme Court, bringing cases to court and you're basing it off of race, or you're bringing race as the discrimination, you already are at a high bar, which is they look at it with strict scrutiny. In the North, they had redlining. In the South, Jim Crow laws. Supreme Court gutting voting rights too. Yeah. Clarence Thomas gave a speech yesterday stating Brown versus Board have flaws. They're coming for that next. So, and that's why I think like probably last summer I talked about how like the public schools that they basically, I need you to go over there, please. The public schools are a place where Republicans, I'm not even just going to say Republicans and Democrats leave Black and brown students to perish because of the underfunding in public schools. And so they're basically like gutting public education and putting it towards these vouchers. And if you want your child to get a good education, you are going to get a voucher and take your son or daughter to those private schools. Like, they're literally attacking every single and undoing everything. And that's why I said that, like, taking things to the court is how you have to go about it. Because if you don't, I mean, we're seeing what they're choosing, but they're basically undoing everything that they did. So they went and undid affirmative action. They gutted the Voting Rights Act, which the legislation, meaning the House and the Senate, could have went back and adjusted the Voting Rights Act, which I'll have to go over. We'll have to go over this. I can do that breakdown. So basically, the Voting Rights Act is still intact, but it just needs to be corrected. And that has to be done by the legislature, and they haven't done that yet. So that's why I said, like, if you ever feel like we're going back to Jim Crow, we really basically are. So Jerome sent me this, and it says, Clarence Thompson issued a strong rebuke of the Brown versus Board of Education ruling, suggesting the court overreach its authority in the landmark. Can he please retire ASAP? Like, I'm not wishing death or illness on this man, but come on. Like, this is bad. This is absolutely terrible. You know what? I agree. We you know what? We don't care that we're separate. You just damn sure better make sure it's equal. If you want to gut Brown versus Board of Education, by all means, please do so. But you're gonna have to make it equal. The Supreme Court, thanks to Mitch McConnell, is tilted to the right for the next foreseeable future. If something happens to Clarence Thomas, Justice Thomas, then there's a possibility we could put another person that's democratically leaning. Thomas attacked the Brown decision in a concurrence opinion that allowed South Carolina to keep using a congressional map that critics say discriminated against Black voters. The remedies came through extravagant use of judicial power to end racial segregation in the 50s and 60s. Federal courts have limited power to grant equitable relief, not the flexible power to invent whatever new remedies may seem useful at the time, he said, justifying his opinion to keep a predominantly white congressional district in South Carolina. The 9-0 decision declared the separate but equal document unconstitutional. I mean, racial segregation is actually legal now as long as it's done like out of natural means. So basically what that means is you can have a segregated school system if the majority of the people that live there in that particular county or in that city are white. Of course, it's going to be naturally segregated. No! Jerome, he won't vote against Loving versus Virginia, though. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I always felt like Brown versus Board of Education gutted Black communities in a way that the strength and power and the core that they had in the communities, I always felt like the Brown versus Board of Education, it ended a lot of that, right? I don't know. Attacking Brown versus Board of Education, I feel like they're trying to take it back to the Jim Crow days. But for me, there's a lot of places that are currently clearly not equal. You can look at North Carolina's education system, public education in North Carolina. They've already ruled several times by the North Carolina Supreme Court that it's not equal. They're not spending enough money on per pupil, like student, that they're not doing enough to provide a quality education. And what does the Republicans in North Carolina do? They pass a bill to fund $300 million for student vouchers for people who don't even need it because they're already wealthy. So if Clarence Thomas retires, then Biden will be able to vote in someone else. I don't know. I feel like this is not good that Clarence Thomas is utilizing this, knowing that he is definitely a DEI justice, meaning the reason why you got to where you are is because of affirmative action, and you are doing this. The resegregation of America's public schools coincides with the rise of charter schools and school choice options, and as civil rights groups have turned away from desegregation battles. This is interesting, and I think you should take a look at this. Civil rights groups have turned away from desegregation battles. So civil rights groups play a integral part, a very important part, right? In basically advocating. And they've turned away from desegregation battles. And why? Because they know that more than likely they're going to lose. So when it says that they turned away from the desegregation battle, that's because when you look at the cases, the segregation that's happening, even though it might be basically to exclude race. They're utilizing other forms. So basically, one of them is you have to live in the district that you're applying for. You can't go to a school outside of your district. And they made that illegal in places. And they actually sent a woman to jail because she had her son registered where their dad, I think it was her son or daughter, wherever their dad was living, that's where they had the child registered instead of registered at the mom's house. And they sent her to jail for that. It says, and they were not going to fund education equally back then, especially in the 1950s in Mississippi when we had wooden schools and were sharing books. So that's the thing. Like, you're going to get into a situation where it's going to be separate. So you need to be making sure that it's equal. It's interesting to see that civil rights groups, advocacy groups are kind of turning away from desegregation battles. But after taking constitutional law, I can understand. And the reason for that is because they probably don't think that they can win those cases. I don't know what's up with them in HBCUs, though. I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger on that. That's a mystery to me. I need to talk to some civil rights lawyers to see why they haven't pulled the trigger on that. Anyway, if all hearts and minds are clear, y'all have a good Memorial Day weekend. Be blessed. Braxton, you want to say goodnight?
Good night.
And the money
It's in the bank.
is in the bank. Y'all have a good evening. I did not copy you.
This pass is intercepted by Anthony Petty, the senior from Wigan. Get those pom-poms in the air. Herb Mulligan carries to the
How you gonna fix it? You done messed me up to death with visit. I done called the police because I'm doing a refund. A refund is due unto me. I feel like I just been abused out here today. God ain't pleased with this. You can't do the saints like this. Boy, I don't even know what I'm gonna sit out here telling the police car. I'm gonna sit out here telling the police car. I'm doing refund. Cause I'm doing